Welcome to Whispers to a Bride, where we talk about the stuff no one else is talking about. We are going deep on the emotional aspects of getting married, the stress, drama, and turbulence that affects your own sense of identity and your closest relationships. We are talking about what it means to be a bride and how to navigate this sacred time with more grace and ease. I'm your host, Kara Gassabay. As a life coach and therapist, I'm going to be sharing super practical tips so that you can not only rise to the occasion of your wedding, but also your life. Hello, and welcome back to our second of 3 Q&A episodes. I love these episodes because they're so specific and help you kind of think through the areas in which you might be needing some support, some perspective. And today is going to be all about burnout. There are 2 questions in this episode that I tackle about just feeling like generalized wedding burnout, and also like if your fiance is burnt out and you're sort of carrying the burden, how do you sort of manage that and think about that? There's such great questions and things that are maybe so easy to just sweep under the rug and say, I'm not even going to think about that. The wedding will be over and things will be back to normal. Do not do that. There is so much that happens during this process that we need to pay attention to because it will serve us. So if you can lean into these feelings now and try to unpack what's behind them and what you can do to support yourself and your fiance better, you are going to be set up so much more successfully for your future. So take a listen and hope it helps.
How do I keep my feelings of wedding planning burnout from setting us back? Okay. Burnout is a huge topic. I feel like it's sort of just like in the ether right now. We had such a lull for those years and now everybody's like doing all the things again. And wedding planning on a good day is very taxing. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of people's opinions to deal with, and the burnout can be real. Obviously, the first thing that people talk about with burnout is getting the rest, right? Is turning your attention elsewhere and eating right and sleeping and all of that stuff. But a lot of the research on burnout, it's not saying some of the most effective things you can do are not what you're not doing, but what you're adding to your day and your time. So I know it might feel like you're already overbooked and overwhelmed. That's why you have burnout, but it's mostly that you're spending your time with things that are not giving you energy back, right? So all these spreadsheets or these emails or these vendor meetings or just back and forth with your mother-in-law or whatever it is, those things are kind of draining you. And then you think like, oh, I just need to rest or I just need to get away from this and do less of this. That is true. But think about what you want to do more of. How can you inject your days with more of the things that do like feed your spirit and that do re-energize and re-inspire you? So that's the thing. I think we always think about how to clear the plate, but I'm saying like fill the plate with like good stuff that you love. Like, no, I'm not going to like call my mom back about her dress drama until I go to my yoga class. Like, right. Like just keep on putting those things that are very fulfilling on the schedule first, even though it doesn't feel like there's enough time. I'm telling you, the other stuff will fill in the gaps and it will be taken care of. A lot of the thing about wedding planning is it almost takes up as much space as you give it, right? You can have 8 conversations about a centerpiece, or you can have 800 conversations about it, right? So it's like, what is the container you're giving it? So I'd really love to see you just sort of think about like containment. Okay, we're going to try to contain the amount of discussions or decision-making or back and forth we have. Like we're only going to check out 3 vendors and that's it, right? That can stop the burnout. But also, what fun things are we putting into our weekends? What are we watching together so that we're bonding over like these other things? I think that is just key for burnout. Okay. And next question. How can I convince my fiance to help me plan our wedding? He's already sick of talking about it and we have several months to go. Okay. This comes up a lot. I know we have a handout about it that'll give you some suggestions. And I just think it's a really important thing that you're noticing it, that you're not sweeping it under the rug because it's a bigger dynamic. My whole purpose, right, in working with brides as they're leading up to their wedding working on the emotional and psychological and relationship sort of issues that wedding planning brings up, it's not just because like you need another mental health professional for each stage of your life. It's really because I'm like, this stage, this little incubation period from getting that ring until the wedding day is a really intense and special time where you're learning so much about each other, about yourselves, about your family, about their family. And now everything's going to sort of work in this next chapter when you are linked and your identities have been shifted and everyone has been reprioritized and reorganized in your life. And so if you're noticing this kind of sort of pattern developing where you're just not getting the help you need, again, culturally we can say like, oh, the guys aren't into the wedding planning, just do it all yourself. And a lot of women do want to do the planning, the bulk of it themselves. They don't mind it. They like it. But it sounds like in this case, you're feeling a little like you're feeling a little alone in it and it's feeling frustrated. And that speaks to that bigger issue in your relationship. Because if you're going to then add children or other projects in your marriage moving forward, this is going to pop up again. Like, hey, wait a minute. I want to be a team. Like, how do I bring you back? And so I think the most fundamental thing here, like there can be all kinds of tricks and different things, but to me, it's a fundamental thing where you trust me that like, it's not about the wedding planning. It's about something else. And so it might be that like, you're not communicating clearly what you were expecting or what you're seeing or how it feels, or he's not seeing it. And so that's like the emotional work of like, are you showing up super, super vulnerable saying like, here, I really expected that we'd be planning this together and that you would like enjoy it. What's going on? Where did we lose it? And he might be like, oh, I thought I wasn't supposed to get that involved, because there are these tropes out there that like the guys shouldn't care too much about the wedding, even though a lot of this stuff is changing. It's so baked in. These roles about who we're supposed to be in this moment come from media. They come from watching your cousin get married. They come from what your dad told you. So everybody's got these narratives going on in their brain, and we're not always like comparing notes. So you guys might be just coming at at this project with just very different expectations of like what your role is. And a simple conversation where you're just like really vulnerable, like I'm really, really hurt. I really need this, or just however you can articulate where you are, what you want to happen, and let him meet you there. I think that is the key. I think your fiance absolutely would probably be heartbroken to feel like you're feeling just terrible about it. You don't want him to feel terrible about it. This is a chance to join back together. Take that time. Do not ignore this. It's literally a sit down conversation, and it starts with you owning your feelings and then opening up the floor and seeing where he is. And I know you guys will be able to find each other if you start with that vulnerable position. Okay. Hopefully that is helpful.
I hope you got some good tips and you can use these ideas from this episode to really recharge your energy as you are moving through this season that always seems like it would be so fun and easy, but until you're in it and you realize like, wow, it is emotionally, financially, logistically, relationally, very, very taxing. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's like a little harder than we thought it would be. That's okay. But it's so important to pay attention to your body, pay attention to your energy levels, and tend to them, because that's the only way then you're going to be allowed to let all that joy in. So if you have a question like this or about anything else, please do not hesitate. I love your questions. Reach out to me on Instagram or TikTok, Kara the Bridal Coach. And if you are feeling like you need your own special time with me, you know I've got an opening for you. KaraMarine.com to book. And until next time, I'm wishing you nothing but bridal bliss.